everyone, and welcome to night 4 of our 2025 Educational Symposium. I have been on the edge of my seat all day. I just could not wait for the speaker for tonight. This week has been amazing. Starting out with Dr. Thomas Freeman. Then on night 2, we had Miss Miss Woods, I'll put it that way. I get so excited. See, I told you I was excited. Miss Lunges Woods, and last night we had Dr. Shannon Davis Wheels, and tonight you're just in for a treat. We have none other than Joyce Marendes, and when you hear all that she does, you are going to be amazed. So thank you, Deacon Holmes. I cannot believe this is year 6. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please make sure that you like my page so I can see your names and can give you that shout out, because I am happy to have you here with us tonight. Make sure that you like, share, and comment. We love comments. Well, as I stated earlier, this is year 6, and our theme this year is Evolve to Excel. The power of learning, healing, and growth. Wow, amazing. And I'm just too excited, but I'm going to go ahead and pray so we can get to the meat of this thing. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, we just thank you, God, for this vision and this purpose that you have given me to reach out into the lives of our teenage and young adult males, assisting them in overcoming obstacles and building their best lives, to reach those single mothers who are raising sons, to encourage them, to uplift them, and let them know that they are not doing this alone. And then the purpose that you gave me to do this educational symposium every year. I just thank you, Lord. I thank you for all the speakers that you have sent this year, because I know it is not by happenstance that each and every one of them was selected. So thank you so much. I honor you, I bless you, and I thank you for Build Your Best Life. Amen. All right. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker. And I wish I had the time to tell you everything about her, because it is a lot, but I'm just going to touch on some little nuggets. But she, first of all, is a very astute businesswoman. Her focus is mentoring women to maximize their God-given talents in business or ministry. She focuses on teaching and empowering women to be effective physically, mentally, economically, and spiritually. She has a bachelor's degree in business management, a master of science in organizational development. She's a graduate certification in conflict resolution and meditation, and she is also a licensed life and health insurance advisor. Joyce is the founder of Breaking Limitations, LLC. Their mission is to empower, equip, and promote individuals and organizations to maximize their talents to capacity. The organization consists of 4 pillars: the Breaking Limitations Insurance Agency, the Breaking Limitations Magazine, Breaking Limitations Academy, and the Breaking Limitations TV show. Well, I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself, but I wanted to give you those nuggets. But like I say, there's so much, so I want her to give you the other little nuggets that she wants you to know. So please join me in welcoming our guest, Joyce Marendes. Hi, Joyce.
Hi, how are you?
Great. So excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here on today and just to participate in the amazing work that you're doing, even for our mothers and the young boys and just everybody regarding education. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
About my I already told you when it comes to my background. The only thing I would add is I was born in Kenya, which is in East Africa. So if someone is wondering where my accent is from, that's where I was born and raised. And then I came here, I went to college, and I'm also a mother of two children. I have a daughter and I have a son. So those are some of the important things about me that I want to share. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Well, tonight we have a topic that is really, really mind blowing. And I think when you hear it, you'll say, yeah, I like that. But it's the educated mind, why formal and informal learning still matter.
Mhm. Yes.
Hang your hat up on that one.
Yes.
Well, Joyce, what is formal education versus informal education in your perspective?
Yeah, so like formal education is just where the structured education where you go to school or you go to a class or college and the information is already structured. It has a curriculum and you have to follow that curriculum, and then when you finish you'll either get a certificate or a degree, but there'll be some form of celebration when you finish. And so the plan has already been set out to when it comes to formal education.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing as the generations, new generations pop up on the scene. Of course, the world is ever evolving, so things change. But as you see, I know you saw the difference in how you did things when you were a teenager or whatever versus how your children do things today. But it's amazing how many things have changed and how much you learn. So we have social media, we went from typewriters to computers, we got tablets, we got these smartphones, everything's smart. Now we have AI. So as the world transitions to AI, is formal education even necessary?
That is a good question, actually, because a lot of people are asking that question. But my answer would be yes. Formal education is necessary because it builds the foundation of where all this information is coming from the AI. Because the AI in itself, it can generate information until it has to go look for the information, and that information was created by people who went through formal education and learned all these different things, and now AI can just pull it faster than before, because before we would have to go to the library to look up information, would have to look up old newspapers or things like that, but now AI can pull all that information up for us. So we still need formal education because it creates the base. And I think one of the dangers that we see right now is AI has made it where I feel like even our kids, maybe they don't know how to go deep into research, to research why is this the way it is, because they'll rely on what the AI says, and yet there was a why. And so the great concern, even when I'm because my background is in human resources, so just looking at how even jobs and everything, employers will start looking for someone who can think critically, because that's what formal education does. It causes you to ask questions. Why is it this way and not that way? So AI will give us the information, but it doesn't really tell us why. But formal education is going to help us to build on the knowledge as to why things are the way they are, or why they function the way they function.
All right. And kind of, even though we're more technology driven today, I can think back, if you ask someone, well, I don't know how to do this, show me how to do it. And then they just show you real fast. And it's like, but I'm not able to do it because you went too fast. You didn't show me.
Show me, exactly. Mm-hmm.
so I can see, with AI, they can just put in a algebra, a calculus problem, and it can get the answer. But then if they go to school and they're asked to go up to the board and write it out, they won't be able to.
Correct. Yeah. And that happens a lot where people know, like, yeah, all I need to do is this and this. I need to input it here and I'll get the results. But they don't know, if you can't input it in there, then how would you get those results? And so that's the danger where we are in right now, where we'll have a whole, if we are not careful, we'll have a whole generation that doesn't know how to go back to the basics to understand why things are the way they are.
Yes.
It's
good.
Yeah.
Well, how can informal education play a role in our lives?
So when it comes to, like, formal education is structured. So you always know, okay, I'm working towards this. And one of the advantages of formal education is that it builds discipline, because you know that if I don't go to school, then I won't be able to get XYZ. I won't be able to graduate. I won't be able to go to the next class. But then now informal education is really powerful, because you can actually just learn without, you can learn at your own pace, and then you can learn by proximity. So for example, I can just teach my son how to make an egg without him having to culinary school to learn how to cook. And so informal education helps us we just learn, but there's no formal structure. And so that's one of the, it's also very powerful, and it's very needed, because with informal education, we're able to learn different things other than just what has been presented to us in class. We can learn even things that normally would never be taught in school. We are able to learn them, like, through informal education. So we can teach our daughters how to do certain things, or we can even teach our kids how to even clean behind themselves. All that is informal education, because
Right.
Yeah, so informal education is really powerful and necessary, and it's something that we just have to continue to do, regardless of whether there's technology or there's no technology. We have to keep doing it.
Yeah. Yes, I can agree with that. Both my husband and I have retired from our corporate jobs that we had, but he is a handy man. But it's like, he'll tell me some of these things he's working on, and I'm like, is there anything that you don't know how to do? How did you learn how to do all this stuff? And he said, well, I used to watch my dad. So that's informal, but he can work, he can build a part of a shed or something. He can work on plumbing. He said, I don't bother with the electricity too much. But there's a lot that he can do, and it just came from watching,
Yes. Yeah, informal education is really, that is the way, like, formal education is already structured. So we already know what to expect. We know that if I want to go to college, then I have to go to high school, graduate, then I'll be able to go to college. But then now the thing with formal education is there are some things it's not able to touch. So sometimes, even when we talk about our emotional wholeness, your formal education is not going to really, like, when you go to school, they'll teach you how to become a teacher or become an engineer or become anything, a doctor. But then it's not going to touch on the parts where you're like, okay, you experienced this trauma while you're growing up. How can I heal that trauma? Or how can I become how can I become better at communication? How can I face my fears of feeling inferior, even though I've gotten all these degrees, but I still feel inferior about certain things or being in certain groups. So those things cannot be taught. They cannot really be taught in class, but that's where informal education becomes very powerful, because we are able to, and I like what the topic here touches about the mind, because we are able to rewire the mind. Regardless of what your childhood is, regardless of how you were raised, regardless of what you were told growing up, one of the things we know that we are able to rewire all that. And the only way to do that mainly would be through informal training, like going for coaching, constantly being taught, okay, you need to start thinking this way, or you need to become more consistent in this. So you need to do certain things, or go visit, change your surroundings or change your friends so that you can have a different outcome in your life. So informal education is really powerful. It was powerful back then, and it's still powerful right now. And then even when we look even in the Bible, Jesus did not really have like a synagogue like the religious leaders. They were in the Sanhedrin, where they used to be taught all these different things, but Jesus he did informal teaching.
Right.
And he would just tell people, okay, you need to do this. So he would tell you that he would ask them questions that would make them to have to think critically and wonder, is this even the right answer or not? But he was teaching them, and that was just informal teaching. But we see that how powerful it was that the disciples didn't go to like a regular school where they were taught to learn about religion, but they ended up changing their world and turning everything upside down because of informal education. So I'm passionate about education, but I'm also passionate about just informal education, because I've seen, even in my own life, I've been able to see that I went to school. I'm coming from Africa. One of the things the parents tell you is you have to graduate, and you can't just graduate with 1 degree. You have to come with 2 or 3. So sometimes you don't even get the degrees because you want them. You get the degree to relieve the pressure. But then so you go get your bachelor's and your master's and all that. But then now you also realize that even though I've gotten all these degrees, there's still a part of me that's not, maybe I'm still not satisfied. Maybe I'm still walking in fear. Maybe I still don't really have clarity on my purpose. And all those things, I had to learn them from informal education, which was through different coachings and taking different classes and things like that. So yeah, so it's really informal, both formal and informal are needed in order for us to become whole in what God has called us to be.
All right. And that is so good. The way you worded it probably makes people feel like, oh, okay, rather than, because sometimes when people have degrees, and there's nothing negative, I have degrees, but sometimes people have it and then they think, well, I know everything. And the simplest thing, they have not a clue. You know what I mean? So, but the way you worded it, it puts it all together. They're both are important. You can learn from both. And it's like, you got that structured education. So you got that book knowledge, you got it. You can probably go into your field and just ace that. However, you may have also walked the path of a mentor or someone for a couple of years, 5 years or whatever, and they have taught you so much that you have that education piece and you have that core the basic principles and knowledge, and you just got the full gamut, and it's
yes. Yeah, that is so true. So because where we like the way life is, we just have to know both. We have to have both. So sometimes if you're heavy on the education in school but not have the other one, but not learn other parts of life, then you won't actually be you won't be able to do what you need to do. So that's that's really important, to be able to just have both formal and informal education, because it plays a major role in who you turn out to be and what God has called you to be. So yeah, so that's powerful. Yeah.
all right. So do you think success is possible without formal education?
I think
Come on now.
This we of course we've seen even in our in this day and time, we've seen that people can become very successful just doing TikTok or just doing YouTube videos, and they could become multimillionaires, while people who went to formal school are still struggling maybe to even pay their bills or to get a job and things like that. So yes, you can be successful without formal education, but it just also, you have to look at what does success look like to you, because having a lot of money, yes, that's successful, but it's only successful to a certain degree, because you can have a lot of money and not have peace. So, or you can have a lot of money but not really know how to manage it, and then you keep losing it. So that's still not success. So you would need to have both. Yes. So the answer to that question would be mainly yes, you can have success without formal education, without formal education, but formal education really helps to expose us to more knowledge, so we can be able to know how to manage some things. So for example, if you've never learned any math and you don't know how to calculate or anything like that, so if you're making a lot of money, other people will be managing that money. You won't know how it's being assigned, or whether you're paying taxes on it, or whether you even need to pay taxes, whether you need to have a lawyer, whether you need to have contracts. And all those things are things maybe you'd have learned if you went to school. You'd have learned in business class that there are certain things you just have to have. You have to have contracts, you have to have this. But if you get that money and you don't know you don't know all those things, then it's easy for you to be taken advantage of. And we've seen a lot of celebrities who got their money really fast, and then all of a sudden you hear that they're filing for bankruptcy. And those are some of the reasons why it's, yes, you got the success, but you didn't have the structure. So formal education gives us structure. It allows us to be able to know, okay, there are certain, even if you don't really know, but you'll have an idea that certain things need to be in place. Like you'll know that even if I'm making all this money, I might need to be paying some taxes at the end of the year, or even if it's 2-3 years down the line, I'll need to pay somebody some taxes. Or or maybe if I have employees, yes, I can have all these people who can work for me, but there has to be some kind of order in how I'm hiring them and firing them, and because there's a process. And so it's important to just know those things, so that because all those things are, yes, you can become famous and rich and everything without formal education, but then now you can hire people who've gotten the formal education to help you. So that's one of the things really, really key. And even with our young people, when they look at celebrities on YouTube, and they look at celebrities on TikTok, and they're just like, you can even just hearing kids talking, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna become a YouTuber. I didn't even know that was a career. I'm like, what? The kids, you're asking them, what career would you want to have? Before we'd hear, oh, I want to become a vet, I want to become a doctor. They're like, oh no, I want to become a YouTuber. You're like, what is that? I'm just gonna create content on YouTube, and YouTube pays me and things like that. So it's just, there's all these different ways of making money, but you just have to have the structure. And so even though you can make money without having formal education, the structure will be built from formal education. And that's where we'll be able to see the legacy, because you can have all this money, but by the end of your life, since you didn't manage it well, the next generation has nothing. They have to start again from the beginning. So, but formal education kind of helps us to understand that, you can build, you can save it, you can put it in certain places where you can be able to build a legacy for your children and your children's children. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. So
yeah.
all the all the information that you provided. It kind of like works together. Because as you were talking, I was thinking about like a Michael Jordan. So, you know, he was just amazing. God gave him that talent, and then he practiced a lot. A lot of times when his teammates weren't practicing, he was practicing. So he got better and better and better, and he was making all this money. But you
Mm-hmm.
did that in two different ways. So what if while he was in school, he wasn't really concentrating. He was just playing ball and they were letting him pass. And then he got in the world and he was just buying, $1 million homes and cars and
Mm-hmm.
living, going on lavish vacations and buying jets and yachts. And then you look around and he had nothing
Mm-hmm.
because he got that informal learning, that those basic principles. Then he knew not to spend all his money, to watch who was looking at his finances,
Mm-hmm.
invest and do other things, have multiple streams of income.
Mm-hmm.
So, instead of his money dwindling as he got older, he's been building it. So,
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is so true. And even just the, because a lot of times, even when it comes to things like sports, the sometimes kids look at that and really focus so much on just I want to become this, not even seeing that that career is very short. Like you don't play for a long period of time, and after that you'll still need to have some kind of career, and that's why having that formal education becomes necessary so you can start to build something even while you're making all these millions, so that once your career is over, then you're not starting with everybody from scratch again, having to readjust your lifestyle so much that it causes you to have a depression and all. So it all, everything is there for a purpose and it all works together. So when we work on them together, then we can build a good life. But when we separate it and just say, oh, maybe I'll just do this and not that, then that's when we put ourselves in trouble, because we find ourselves lacking in something. And unfortunately, sometimes we are lacking in, because we didn't take time maybe to learn certain things, we find ourselves lacking and we don't even know we are lacking. We just know that we call it bad luck. Bad luck, this is just bad luck, things just happening to me. I don't know why the first manager stole from me, then my second manager stole money from me, and you're calling it bad luck, but that's not bad luck. You just didn't learn certain principles, you didn't learn how to pick well, or you just don't know. And so it, asking for help is okay. so so sometimes our level of success can make us feel like, you know what, I already have a PhD, why should I be asking for help on certain things? But you could have a PhD and actually not really know how to do certain things at all. And so you might need to ask someone who hasn't even finished college to be able to help you with certain things. And so it's just understanding that in this life, everybody was created here for a purpose, and you cannot be a success by yourself. Because God knows if you could become a success by yourself, you would be the untouchable one that we have to worship. So,
right.
so you cannot be a success by like God makes you to need people, and that's why we say you'll need to God will make you need a community that will have something that you are lacking. And when you join the community, then you'll be able to learn from them while they're also learning from you. So I'm even so happy that you have this community where people can actually get all this information and be able to relate and learn, and and learn how to raise their children a certain way, and just bring healing and growth. So thank you for this platform too.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is so important, that you, like you said, about community, because, sometimes we can think, oh, I got it all together and I can do this and I can do that. But
Mhm.
we can learn something new every day. And I just love it when, I've been struggling maybe for years doing things the old way. And somebody comes in and say, well, let me show you how to do blah, blah, blah. Let me do that for you. And you go, wow, you can do that quickly. And easily. That's a different way to do that. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Show me, help me.
Yes. And that happened to me just not too long ago. I was working on a project and it took me almost 10 hours. And then my daughter looked at what I was doing and she said, oh, I can help you with that. And I was like, oh, really? And she said, could you move over so she'll be to get out of the chair? And she just walked on it. And she did it so fast when it had taken me so long to figure so many things out. And I just assumed because she's young, I don't think she will even get it. And yet she was able to do it. So now when I need something, I just ask her, oh, do you think you can add this to that document? Or do you think you can do this and this? And then she's able to do it. But I didn't know that she might be over there just playing on her iPad or something. And yet she could actually help me to save 5-6 hours of what I was doing. So,
Right.
So sometimes we just need to be open to just learn from whoever God puts in our path, and also to just have that community where you can feel comfortable and just say, I don't know how to do this. And even when it comes to even just parenting or teaching, because with all this stuff that we have to help our kids with, homework and things like that, there's some things that just sometimes just asking for help, you'll find that maybe someone else can do it better than you and they can make your life easier. I'm like, teach them all the math, English, whatever. I'll cook for you. I would rather just cook. Yeah, so it's really interesting.
I mean, and it's not, we're talking education and working and stuff like that, but people can help you with anything. I have 7 grandkids. I call them my heartbeats. And so I love to spoil them for Christmas. And so I have stuff everywhere, but I don't rap too well. But I have 2 friends, they can rap well and they love to rap. And they come over and they just make a day of it, and we buy them dinner and whatever, and we talk and laugh and whatever. Hey,
Wow. I know. Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Yes. And I think about all the years I would be up all night and all the next day trying to rap.
I know. I don't like doing that stuff either. So if I got someone who loves to do it, I would welcome them. I'll be like, come on, I will do whatever for you. Just just come and just do these things for me. So yeah, but it's true. Community is really important. And even in the Bible, Jesus was never by himself. He was all God. He no sin. He could just decide that, what, I'm so good. I don't need to be around you guys. You guys have issues. You don't really have, you don't even trust me, like you're supposed to. But Jesus, he had a community. He had people he would go to, people he would ask, pray for me or help me even when I'm feeling down and things like that. Or he would share what he was feeling, his emotions. Right. And so even when we talk, especially teaching even boys, teaching them that having emotions and talking about your emotions is okay. You don't have to bottle everything in. Even Jesus talked about how he was feeling before he was crucified and all that. So you can just talk about it, talk with someone close to you, or it's some of your a friend or your parent or someone that you trust. You can talk to them and let them know how you feel, so you don't bottle all that up, because that also ends up affecting even our mental health and things like that. So so all that is what actually a lot of that is taught in informal education.
Yeah.
I know, because boys always feel like they have to be tough, they have to be a certain way, but when they hang around other men, or they can be taught that, what, you don't always have to be tough. You can also just share what you feel. It's okay if you don't feel like you can do it. It's okay to be even afraid. And yeah, it's okay and to just be human. Yeah, so
Yeah. So, a lot of times we say this and it's true, but you'll say that formal education is not for everyone. There are some people that they will be the YouTubers. There will be some people that will go into the military. There will be some people that will take a trade like plumbing or electrician, welding, instead. But I guess if people constantly say that, well, school's not for everyone, how do we relate that in the way that we mean it and not like push young people to just say, oh, well, they say, that's not for everybody, so I'm just not going to go to college when they really, should.
yeah, we all have different personalities and we all have different assignments, and formal school might not really be for everybody, but then you have to find the path that's going to work for you, but you also learn that you're also going to learn so that you're not left behind not knowing what's going on. Because even in the military, when you join the military, yes, you're not going to be in like a regular school, but they teach you a skill such that even if you're in the military for 20 years, when you leave, you will have a certain skill that you went and became proficient in. And so, and even as you go up in rank, you also just have to learn how to manage. So you might not manage the way someone would manage, like in an office, but you will learn how to manage your troops. So you might have to learn how to manage being in a certain place and make sure that you're not that the people assigned to you come back home safe. So there's a lot of training that we can learn, even though it can be categorized almost informal, but still you are learning some of those things, because with the military, you are also learning to manage your time. You're managing to follow orders. You're managing to be consistent and to work, whether to do what you've been assigned to do, whether you feel like it or not. So you can't just wake up and say, you know what, today I won't run those 10 miles and I won't do this exercise and I won't do that. You don't even have that option. And so even in our formal education, we know that even with kids, sometimes they wake up and say, I just don't want to go to school today. But you're like, nope, you still have to go because today is a school day. You're going to have to go. So they are learning how to be consistent there, but also this other careers are also teaching the same way, in a different way. Because sometimes some people have, sometimes some people cannot focus on certain things long. And so just understanding, like if it's a child, understanding your child so that you can be able to still empower them and they can learn those different things, but just in an informal way. That is also important, because the challenge comes when you say, okay, yes, school is not for me, but then now here all you do is sit and watch TV or play video games. And so that means you are saying school is not for you, but you're not learning anything on this other side. So the important thing is to make sure that even if you feel like formal education is not for you, you should still be learning, and you should be learning something that can still help you with those regular things, which is, I think consistency is the most important one, and then managing time is another, and then just finishing projects, because school teaches us that you start somewhere and you finish. And so even when you go for informal training, it teaches you the same thing, that yes, you might go for this trade or that trade, but you still have to put in the energy and the time so that you can finish, and then you'll be able to use what you learned to help you in your life.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you have just tuned in, you have been missing a treat. We are here tonight talking about the educated mind, why formal and informal education still matter. and it has been a powerful discussion. So if you missed it, you will have to go back and listen to it in its entirety. And I hope you go back and listen to the other broadcasts from this week. But we're having a great discussion. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, guys,
I'm loving it too. I love education. So
what is one thing that everybody today can do to continue with both formal and informal education?
I think having the having a curious mind, wanting to learn more than where you are, because they say when you stop learning, that's when you start dying. So just starting having a curious mind, wanting to learn and wanting to become a better version of yourself. And so the only way you can do that is by constantly, even if it's like reading a book, listening to a podcast, or just taking time to go for coaching and different things. All that will help you so that you're not stagnant. And then also just becoming more self-aware of who you are, because a lot of times we don't know, we don't take time to really reflect. Why do I do the things I do? Why do I keep repeating the same cycles? Why do I find myself when I start a project I can't finish? Why do I feel jealous when I see one of my friends succeeding more than me? All those things are questions that you can ask yourself, depending on whatever it is that's going on with you. Take a step back and just ask yourself, why is my life this way, and how can it become better? And so when we start to take more time to reflect on ourselves and who we are, then we can get an opportunity to be able to see the areas that we need to strengthen in, the areas that we need to address, and then it will also help us to become a better version of who we are. Because they always say that success is waiting for you, but it's not waiting for this version of you, right? It's waiting for another version of you. So the journey is for you to keep evolving so you can get to that version that the success is waiting to see. And so sometimes you might think that you're just like, why is this not happening for me? But maybe how you are right now cannot handle the success that you're praying for. That success that you're praying for might destroy you. So the only way to be able to get to that level is by becoming, growing those areas that you need to grow. But you won't know that you need to grow those areas if you don't take time to reflect and just ask yourself simple questions. And unfortunately, life has been set up in such a way that we are always busy. We are always running up and down. So we don't take time to reflect. You have to really be intentional if you want to just take time to reflect. And so a lot of times we just do the same thing every day, but we hope that something is going to change. We'll wake up, we'll rush, take our coffee, run, go to work, and then you stay in traffic, get upset about the traffic, and then you drive back, you come back, you're too tired, you sit and watch TV, watch a couple of Netflix, and we repeat this cycle. But when we are praying, we are saying, God, can you just bless me so I can have this? Can you bless me so I can improve it? I can have this. But our action is not reflecting the future we desire. And the only way we can be able to change so that we can reflect the future we desire is by taking a step back and just reflecting on, do my actions match what I'm trying to accomplish? And if they don't, then what can I do? And we don't have to make the massive changes. You know how sometimes like when you want to go on a diet, you're like, you know what, I'll only eat 3 carrots every day. But you don't have to be that extreme. You just have to say, okay, every single day, if I wake up, I'm always rushing. Maybe I just need to put my clothes ready the night before. And I need to know that if I'm carrying lunch, I need to have that lunch ready the night before. And maybe if I'm always waking up and the first thing I'm looking at is Facebook and Instagram and all that, maybe I should just take 10 minutes and just be in silence without looking at any technology. Or I can pray and just, command my mornings so I can be able, yes, so I can give my day direction. So you can pray, read your Bible, listen to something motivational. You can just make the small changes. And those small changes are the ones that bring a huge difference when you do them consistently for some time. So we just want to be able to, make those changes. We want to be able to reflect, look at our lives, see how our lives are and what direction we want to go. Then we just start to make those small changes. And then those small changes eventually become big changes and become what we are looking for in life. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, it has been a delight having you here, to having this discussion with you. But as I was introducing you, I heard some very exciting things, and we would love to hear more about you and what you're doing. I saw on there Breaking Limitations LLC. So, tell us about what you're doing.
I am. So I wear many hats. So I have a business. It's a health insurance business. So I have a insurance business that offers insurance to individuals and also to small businesses. I transitioned from corporate America to having my own business because I realized that a lot of people have a desire to have a business, but then now the thing that keeps them stuck is when it comes to having benefits. And so since that's something I did in corporate America for a long time, I understand that very well. And so I help individuals, I help small businesses or businesses that are starting to grow. Like sometimes you can have a small business, it starts to grow. You're like, okay, I want to keep my employees, I want to offer benefits. So I help, that's one of the main things that I do. And then I also have the Breaking Limitations. So our mission is just to empower, to equip, and to promote. I have a coaching program. It's called Discover Your Superpower. And in that program, we just teach individuals to discover their God-given potential. Because a lot of times we just live life and we live as though we are regular. But according to God's standards, we are not regular. We are not regular. We were created in the image and likeness of God, but sometimes life, the experiences that we face in life, or sometimes the things that we've endured or our background did not reflect that. And one of my favorite stories in the Bible is it's in Judges, the story of Gideon, because Gideon was found in the wine press, and Gideon was he didn't even think himself to be anything major. And yet within Gideon, he had the ability to become a warrior. Within Gideon, he had the ability to call for people to come and fight, and he had thousands of people show up. So within him, God had given him a voice to be able to speak and to call, and things can happen. But he didn't know that because his background, where he was raised, and his experiences made him not see himself the way God saw him. And so he had to have an encounter with God. And even when he had the encounter, he still wasn't sure. He kept saying, could you just show me one more time? Could you just tell me again what? until he could be able to to really believe that he was called to be a great warrior. And so I think a lot of times we have this power within us, but we don't know, because of our experiences, because of our backgrounds and things like that. So my passion is to be able to help, especially women, to discover their superpower so that they can become everything that God has called them to be. And we don't even, because sometimes when people hear about empowering women, they think, oh, we are coming to bash men. But no,
Right.
we're coming to make them become the woman that God called them to be. Because a healed woman can be the best gift that God can give a man. And so if you can find that woman who is healed, who understands her assignment, who understands that she has the ability to birth, not just physically, but she's able to touch things even in the business world, in the education system, in anything that she puts her hands to do, she's able to make it grow. Then that would be the best gift that would have here on earth. But the enemy wants us to think that we are just like sexual beings, or we are women. We just need to be, not to think the way God wanted us to be. And so we just want our women, our girls, everybody to think, to see themselves the way God sees them, and they'll be able to discover their superpower.
Awesome.
Yes. And then I have a TV show. I've not done a new season yet, but it's called Discover Your Superpower. It's to empower, to bring to light people who have broken limitations in their lives and have been able to overcome great obstacles, and just sharing their stories, because there are some hidden successes and hidden heroes in our lives that we just, most of the time, we only know about celebrities, but there are so many celebrities within us and in our areas and all that, people who are doing some great things. They've overcome great obstacles to become everything God has called them to be. So I always just interview to know their story, so that the rest of the world can also know their story. So
awesome.
yes.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. Well, I don't know if this is correct, but I got your social media sites correct. So this is how you can reach Joyce.
Yes. That's correct. So that's everything is Joyce Marendes. So when you put Joyce Marendes, it will pull up my Facebook, and then my Instagram, and then my YouTube, and then I think they call it now X. I don't even use it anymore, but I did that one because before it was Twitter.
Yeah.
It became too complicated. I was like, where my icon changed? What is this now?
Hey, technology, you gotta love it. You gotta love it, but sometimes it's like, huh?
Yeah, no. I'm like, you Facebook, yes, you will find me, and YouTube and Instagram, but the other ones, it's just I forget that they're there. So
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us and closing out this 2025 symposium. And those of you who are listening for the first time, this is something that we do every year. We do 4 major conferences each year, and this is the third of the year. The third one, we do mother and sons, men and boys education symposium, and then in November we will have our Grateful Conference. So, Joyce, we greatly appreciate you coming on here. And I know I enjoyed you, so I'm sure everybody else did.
Thank you.
You can come back sometime. You don't have to wait till next educational symposium.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity, and for everyone who has tuned in. I'm truly grateful to be here, and I just thank God for the opportunity. And also, I'm just excited to see what you are doing, and you've been consistent doing it year after year, which is a blessing, because sometimes we see where people come in one time, they do something, and then the next year they don't even exist anymore. But thank you so much for being consistent and in reaching out and having the passion to do it.
Thank you. And this symposium is tonight, but hey, it's second Saturday coming up, August 9th. So remember, it's Conversation with the Guys. They'll be on, they'll be hot. They always have a hot topic. So join us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this Saturday morning for Conversation with the Guys. We have a new guy that's joining us Saturday, Jacob Mosley, along with Derek Durden, Dan Smith, and Dr. Coach Wilbon. So we hope that you will take this opportunity to join us Saturday morning for another hot topic. So again, thank you all so much for sharing with us this week and sharing with us today. Remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. I hope to see some of you Saturday, and I hope to see you soon, Joyce.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.